talk in front of all of us, we can do that.
No, I'm going to put you up singly.
Oh, Lordy.
Hello, hello.
Hi,
Hi, Sandy.
everyone.
Hi, Robin. Welcome in.
Sandy.
Hey, Sandy. Hey,
Robin.
Robin.
Hey, y'all.
Yes, I'm going to make you big and you
down
can
here.
tell your stories.
Let me share us out.
Okay. And I'm expecting some really good stories. I know one story Selena's going to tell.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the deal on my story. Y'all may not see me in the same light as y'all see me now. But James and Taylor was like, "Oh yes, tell that one, Mama." I was like, "Okay."
I've got some doozies.
Okay. Well, we'll let you guys, the two early birds, we'll let them just tell their stories. How's that?
Okay, that sounds fine with me.
And then we can take our time when the early birds are leaving.
The after dark versions.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome everyone. We have, let's see, who else is
Oh, there's Pam. Hi, Pam.
Hey, Pam.
Hey, Robin.
Hey, Robin.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, Robin.
Hello.
This is
It's so great to see people, you know.
Oh, it is. This is the first time I've seen Robin. I am just thrilled.
Hey, Robin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Oh, you can hear the South in her voice.
That's right.
You made my day. I've had one of those crazy days, so I needed some cheering up.
Oh.
Now, see, Robin and I, we both live in Southern Ohio. I'm on the east side, she's on the west side, but we're just about on the same parallel, I think, as far as where we, you know. So we can wave each other even though we can't see it. It's like we're at the same.
Hi, Scooter.
Hi, Scooter. Anyway,
Hi, Scooter.
I'm going to, for the audience, just I hope you enjoyed this. I just thought, you know what? Everything going on in the world, we just need to laugh and goof off and tell stupid, goofy stories and just enjoy each other, get to know each other. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
So I'm going to put Pam on first, and then Selena, and then Angie, then Laura, then Robin. And if you guys want to tell one or two stories at a time, or if you get tired and you want to just come back and tell another one, it's up to you.
Yeah.
There's
we'll
no
see how
rules.
fast. We'll see how fast it goes. How's that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's put Angie on.
Pam.
Angie. Wrong person.
I mean, Pam.
I was going to say, did you change my name?
Hey, if you would have known my day today, you'd have just.
We'll forgive you, Josie. You're fine.
I had a Job day. We'll put it that way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get Job out of here right now.
Okay. All right.
All right. I have several stories about my mom and my grandpa, but I'm gonna start off with I think I've told it before. Some of the girls might know it, but I was born in West Virginia, and we lived in a little hick town, and my dad went to Richmond, Virginia to find a good job. And so he got hired as a linesman on the electrical lines. So when I was 2 weeks old, he came and got Mom and I, and we moved to Richmond, Virginia. And I grew up there for the first 10 years of my life. So when I got a little older, Mom would send me, we moved in different houses, but Mom would send me to the grocery store. It was just a little country store. It wasn't anything fancy, not like, Costco's or anything like that. And I had real long black hair because my dad loved long hair. And Mom would curl it into finger curls. And I had these little bangs like I do now, but they were black. My hair was jet black. So this guy at the store, he was always teasing me. He'd say, "Where'd you say you're from?" I said, "West Virginia." And he says, He goes, "Are you Jewish?" Well, I didn't know what Jewish was. If there's anybody listening that's Jewish, I'm not making fun of you. Okay.
Excuse me 1 minute. Robin, you said you can't hear? Are
You
you
can't hear
muted on
anything?
your end? Because you're not muted over here.
No, I'm fine.
No, I meant talking about Robin.
Oh.
Robin
Hey,
said she
Josie,
can't.
she might have the same problem I had. The button, the F1 on her, no, F3 on her computer, if she's on a laptop, if she'll match that, she may have a sound. Remember, I couldn't,
I remember, yeah, when you have that problem.
Okay,
yeah.
try that, Robin. See if it'll work. I can hear on my phone. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, anyways, I would because I didn't know what being, what it meant to be Jewish or whatever, and so I'm like, it would bother me. So every day when I had to go back to the store, he would ask me the same question. Well, one day I went in there and he says, "With that long, black, beautiful hair, you got to be Jewish," and I had enough. Okay, so here I am. I'm like 10 years old. Okay. And I stomped my foot down on the ground and I said, "I'm not Jewish. I'm from West Virginia." And he started laughing and he goes, okay.
In other words, leave me alone.
He called my mom and he had such a laugh out of that. He says, she come in here, she stomped her foot down and said, "I'm from West Virginia."
Quit calling me Jewish. I'm not from there.
Yeah.
That is funny.
But
That is a
anyway,
good story, fam.
yeah, that's okay. So that's number one. Go ahead. Go
Yep,
to
go ahead.
Selena.
Or you
I'll
want
go to me.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna guess which one Selena's gonna.
Should I start with the big one?
Oh yeah, start with the
All
big one.
right.
Okay.
My dad everybody was together, it'd be 17 kids. Okay. My grandmother passed when my dad was 4, and my papa remarried and had a bunch of other youngins. And every one of them are blind. On the second batch, they're all blind. Their mother had eye disease, and they're all blind.
Oh my.
So I have.
Hold up. 17 children have no sight.
No, there was 5 of the first batch. 10 of them can't see.
All right, 10 of them can't see. Okay.
10 of them can't see. And so my step grandmother passed away. She had 8 girls. No, she had 7 girls. Okay, and she passed. We're all at the funeral home and stuff. They're viewing the body, and stuff, and they're wanting a meeting. And half of my family, half of the girls didn't want to. They wanted to cremate her, although she done been embalmed. Couldn't do it. Already had the plot dug. They wanted to cremate her, and my uncles wouldn't let them. Well, my dad said they're all idiots, and he's going home. And they went, "Ronnie, what are you going to do? What about your say? You're the oldest." And he said, "Selena's in charge." What have I done? What am I in charge?
Yeah.
Oh, so they get mad. They start swinging their canes at each other.
Oh,
So it is like, and they
love
were
this
all
story.
just trying to hit each other. And I mean, you're like ducking and weaving and stuff, and you
Up
can't
in the
make it
funeral
up.
home?
Their mother's right there in the casket. Yes. And I mean, they were swinging, trying to hit each other. And I'm like, God, what are you doing? Are you crazy? I have about 5 cousins that are blind too. I hear one of them coming. I got the papers running. How she got down that aisle without hitting anything, I was amazed. And I'm just sitting back and I'm watching them. And here they still are. Sometimes they got hit each other, and sometimes it cleans and stuff. And I'm like, you can't make this crap up. And so I went, "Hey, y'all, you got to quit. Your mama's up there." And they was like, "I don't care." And then I almost got it. And I just kind of went, "Whoa, Christ, what are you doing?" So yeah, my blind aunts got into a fight with their canes in the middle of a funeral home.
Oh my goodness,
I want to
Selena.
know what's the difference. They couldn't see anyway, so
No, they
why?
were blind as a bat. There was just
Yeah.
canes just going everywhere, man. They were just like,
Oh, God.
I'm so glad you told that story because the one I'm going to tell, oh,
I made my kids get up next to the wall.
I've heard this story about 5 times and I've laughed every time.
Oh my God. Finally, the funeral home director finally got them calmed down and said, guys, your mom was laying up here. Let me tell you what they put my mom, my auntie, they wanted her to be just like she was. They put her in a tank top with an old hat on and still had tobacco spit on her shirt.
in the casket.
In the casket. And I was like, oh, dear Heavenly Father, here I am having to wear a dress and stuff. My mama would have tanned my hide, and I was in my 30s. I feared my mama. So we were, really dressed up because, you respect the dead.
Yeah.
No, they came in with their tobacco in their mouth.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
And their canes
Selena,
swinging.
you got, that is hilarious.
I'm telling you talking about country.
Well, that's as real as you can get, I would think.
I wish I wish I'd had a video. I could have videotaped
Yeah, that would be so good if you
Oh,
would
I'd
have
have
had
made money on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my
They probably would have made a movie out of that, Selena.
oh my Lord, the day the idiots went berserk and
Now,
That
I
I
was
love
going
that
to say
story.
that you may have some relatives that's related to me, Selena. So,
are they in the Smoky Mountains? Probably so.
I
mean, you can't fix stupid. That was so dumb.
blind women in a funeral home with canes, slinging them around. That had to be.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me tell you this. Okay, I was 13. I'm gonna tell you this real quick because this kind of goes in with this. I was 13 when I met him. Daddy didn't let us go around, and I was up at my uncle's house, and it's my dad's real brother. Okay, they got the same parents, and they took me over to one of my aunt's house to meet everybody. And I was 13, and the stepmother was really mean and abusive to my dad, and they went over there, and so I'm meeting everybody. Hi, how are you doing? All that, and then she came to me. It came to her, and she said, "You can call me Grandma." And without thinking, I said, it'd be a cold day in hell before I called you Grandma. I know what you did with my dad. My aunt got down and started praying for me right there on her knees.
Oh.
My uncle said, I'm going to go and I'm calling your dad. I went, all right. And so we went home. I had to call my daddy, and I said, Daddy, what? I said, I got in trouble. What'd you do? I said, I told Elma it'd be a cold day in hell before I ever called her Grandma. That's my girl, knowing my uncle. Ronnie, why would you do something like that? And, well, and I was like, yeah, that was it. See, that's bad, ain't it? I'm telling you. Yep, I did that.
Hey, truth is truth.
That's
It
country.
Oh.
Well,
Hey, she beat on my dad, so.
let's see how Auntie can follow that.
I don't know, but I'm going to try. Okay,
Okay.
so James and Taylor think I should tell the story. So I'm doing it on the request of James and Taylor. Taylor, my daughter. So Matt had just graduated from high school, my son. And we were going to see James's mom in a nursing home. She was in a facility in Louisiana. She wanted to go out and eat with Matt before he went to Ole Miss off to college. No problem. So we go to the facility. We get her. She gets in the car. Where do y'all want to go eat? Well, let's go to Don's Seafood. Okay, we all love seafood. No problem. So we are going in there, and James, his mother was on oxygen. She had a heart issue, congestive heart failure, and she couldn't walk long distances. So James was going to let her out at the front door, and then Matt was going to come around and help her, and they were going to go in, and we were going to park. So as soon as James slows down to let his mom out, the guy behind honks the horn. And both of our children know you don't honk horns. It just don't happen when James is driving.
Mm.
So I'm in the passenger side, and I go, James, don't worry about it. Just pull over, let him by, and then you can back up and let your mom out. Don't rear up. Don't get upset. Children had never seen their daddy about what I'm fixing to tell you that happened. But anyway, we told everybody in the car. The truck went around to the back of the restaurant. We let James's mama out, and then we parked. Well, while Matt was with James's dad, his mother, Matt said, "Why did you speak to my grandmother like that? Why did you why did you honk the horn at my dad like that?" And the guy said some pretty choice words and said, "I don't give a blankety blank about your daddy, blah, blah, blah." Well, he didn't realize that James had got out of the car and was standing by Matt where he couldn't see him. And James just turned his head around and said, "What'd you say?" And he said, "You heard what I said, man. I don't give up." And he was using bad language. Well, at this time, Taylor is over by the car with my mother-in-law, which is her grandmother. And James starts going toward the guy. And I'm going, "Stop, James. Quit, James. Don't go near him, James. Let's go in the restaurant, James." Steady walking toward him. Then I'm thinking, okay, if the guy doesn't swing first, James is never going to touch him. He's just going to keep mouthing off, because I know James is like, "I'm never going to throw the first punch, but if anybody does, it's on."
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, here we are in Louisiana. My husband has just got an altercation over somebody blowing the horn and saying something ugly to Matt. What is this world coming to? So whole time I'm trying to remain calm. The guy hauls off and slaps James across the head.
Oh.
Well, when he does, it's on like Donkey Kong. I was married to James 30 years at the time, probably. I have never seen this man punch like he went to punching this man. And I was saying, "Stop, you're going to kill him. You're going to kill him. Stop, you're going to kill him." And James wouldn't let up. It was just boom, boom, boom. And he kept trying to get up under his truck so he could get away from James. James kept dragging him back out from under the truck. And I was like, "James, you're going to kill him. Let him go." And about that time, Matt is around there. And I said, "If you cause my son to lose his scholarships going to college, I'm going to kill you. He does not need to go to jail. Stop." And about that time, James let off the guy. The guy's glass was busted all over his face. His ear was bleeding.
Bet he'd be a head again, huh?
And then all of a sudden, he goes for Matt. The guy goes for Matt. Well, when he does, James goes back in there and he just starts. And I was like, "Oh, God, my husband's going to jail for life. He's going to kill this man. We don't even know." My head is exploding. Taylor is over there with James's mama, and Taylor has never seen her daddy that angry, ever. Neither one of my children have ever seen James that angry. I had never seen him that angry. This is how he is when it comes to his family. Now I know.
Yep. So
I finally, they run out from the restaurant. We got people over at Wendy's going, "There's a fight. There's a fight. Damn it. And all this stuff. So the people in the restaurant come out and the girl said, "I'm just going to call the law." And James said, "Yeah, that's what you need to do. You need to call them." So she goes back in and she calls the law. Well, by the time the law gets there, they've separated, because I finally got James's, he could hear me, let go to kill him. So they're separated. The law comes up and he looks at us and he said, "Y'all go on into the restaurant. I'm going to handle this out here." So I walk over to my mother-in-law and Taylor is shaking. She is, it has messed her up. She looks at me and she said, "Mama, do you know what Memo said when Dad was fighting that man?" And I said, "No, baby, what?" She said, "I looked at Memo and said, I don't want to eat here. We need to go somewhere else." And she said, Memo looked at me and said, "Oh, honey, don't worry about it. Your dad's just going to whoop this man's ass and we're going to go eat fish." And she's almost 80 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my head is exploding and my blood pressure is high. And that's all she could say. "Oh, honey, don't worry about it. We're just going to go eat some food." So we go inside and sit down, and I'm shaking. I'm like, are they going to take James to jail? Or what's going to happen? All of a sudden, James walks through with this big grin on his face. He don't have a spot on him. He don't have blood. He don't have a scratch. He don't have nothing. It don't look like he's even been in a fight. So for some reason, Matt stayed out there with him, and I went to check on Taylor. Here comes Matt. He's all big and bad because he thinks he's been in a fight with his daddy, and they done whooped this man and all this stuff. And so they sat down, and I said, James, I don't think I'm going to be able to eat. I mean, are you going to jail? Who do I need to call? Are you going to be arrested? Yeah. He's like, no, he didn't want to press charges, and I sure didn't because I didn't get my tail whooped, but he didn't say tail. And he said, I didn't get the worst of it. He did. So he didn't want to press charges, and I didn't. So we're good. We're fixing to eat. After all that, they wanting to sit down and eat. So my mother-in-law was like, yeah, my mother-in-law was like, yeah, what am I going to have? Let me see what I'm going to have. Just as calm as a cucumber. She has never even, nothing. She has never got upset. The blood pressure didn't go up or anything. It was just like, yeah, we good. Mm-hmm. So we sat there, and Taylor and the kids and I were looking at each other like, did this really happen? So now when we pass the Don's Seafood sign, we all look at each other like, we're not going to Don's. You can pick
Don's Seafood. You mean you don't want a rerun of that, do you?
No, but that's the first time I had ever seen James fight as many years as I'd been married to him. Wow. I'd never seen it, and my kids had never seen it. But I asked James later on, I said, James, could you not hear me? He's like, no, I could not hear you because he said, I was taught one thing when I taught to fight. Do not ever let up. Keep punching. I said, James, you were going to kill him. Did you see how he looked? And you didn't even know him. He just said something ugly to Matt, and you jumped on him. He said, well, he'll know next time not to say anything, won't he? And I was like, okay, I won't ever get angry with you. But he did a job on that guy. And I said, James, you have scarred your children. They don't even know what to think now. He said, well, I was just defending my family. And I was like, okay, you need to explain that to them. But anyway, that's the story of him getting in a fight with somebody at Don's Seafood.
Oh, my.
I love that. That is good.
That's a good one.
Yep. Okay, let's go to Miss Laura.
Hi, everybody. Welcome in.
I love it.
Thanks for being here. What, Josie? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I said, I'm so honored and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I love to laugh. I love funny stories. And many of these stories, most of them are short. A lot of them involve my kids. They also have my sense of humor. But I am going to start with the oldest story because I believe the statute of limitations has run out and I can no longer get out. There was a bit of a pushing on the law.
Oh, okay.
So back in 1982, I was 16 years old, and I was a very good driver. I had a little Volkswagen Scirocco, a little car, and it was a stick drive. I learned how to drive on a stick drive. So one day, now we didn't have cell phones, and I was the oldest of all my siblings. The little teen line, our little phone, our teen line rang, and it was my sister. Now she's younger than me. She's not old enough to drive. She says, I'm up at the gate. Can you come get me? We lived in a gated community that was out in the country because we had fishing and lakes and beaches, and the gates would be locked on the weekend so people couldn't come in and swim and fish. Mm-hmm. So she wasn't able to get home. She had spent Friday night at her friends, and they just dropped her at the gate. Now, the phone that she called from was a courtesy phone. You could call out, but you could not call in. So I had no way to call her back. And she says, I'm up at the gate. Can you come get me? And I confidently say, yeah, I'll be right there. And I'm sure I checked my hair before I left. It's the 80s. But then when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. So I grab my keys, I get out to the driveway, and I'm like, there are no cars here. My car's gone, my mom's car's gone, and as a matter of fact, I'm the only one home, I discover. And my dad must have taken my car. I don't remember being alarmed. He must have taken my car like to run errands or to maybe get an oil change or something. But I looked over. Now, my dad was a Frito-Lay salesman. That was his entire career. And he would drive his Frito-Lay truck home and he would make his deliveries early the next morning. So I looked over and I saw that Frito-Lay truck. And I'm thinking, now remember, my frontal lobe is not fully
No, I know
developed.
where this is going.
Oh no.
I told my sister I would be up there. It's a 3-mile hike. I had no way to get a hold of her. And when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. So I went back inside. I got the keys to the Frito-Lay truck. This is one of those big delivery.
No.
My little Sirocco would fit inside this car. And it's a stick shift, but that didn't bother me because I know how to drive a stick, right?
Yeah.
And he would always back that thing in. So all I had to do was put it in first gear and go. So I didn't want to shift past second. So I just went really slow around curves, you know, it just went really, really slow. And as I approached the gate, my sister, and she wasn't really alarmed at first as she saw the Frito-Lay truck. But then when she saw who was driving it, she's like,
no.
So I got real close. And yet there's this big sliding door you got to open. So I opened the door. I would have walked. I'm like, but how would you know? I mean, how would you know I wasn't coming?
Oh my gosh.
She didn't say another word. She just got in. There's no other seat. She had to just, you know. So I drove real slow home. When I got to, it was a 3-wide driveway, and when I got there, there's no way I'm backing this thing in. And the realization started to come to me that I'm not going to back this in. I'm going to have to front this thing in, and there's no hiding.
Your dad's gonna know it was moved. Yeah.
There's no way. But I really, and I do remember I wasn't even thinking about trying to hide it. I wasn't trying to do something wrong. I was actually trying to do the right thing in a 16-year-old mind's thinking.
Yeah, yeah.
So I fronted that thing right in the middle, and my sister just got out, went straight to her room. I didn't see her again for a while. And then we had a dog, and he went wild whenever my dad would come home. And I thought, oh, here he is. He's home. The dog's going crazy. So I get the keys again, and I go down. I kind of peek my head out, and I said, Dad. The look on his face worse, 100 times worse than my sister.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
and so I started to explain to him what happened, and he looked at me and he goes, "That could have really been bad." And we were routinely given out punishments when we deserved them. Usually a good grounding or take your car away or something.
Yeah.
He did not give me any consequence or any punishment whatsoever. Years later, we would talk about it in front of my kids. They have to air all my dirty laundry to my kids. He goes, the reason I didn't give you that punishment was because I knew your heart was in the right place, but your head was not there. So I like to tell people every once in a while, I drove a Frito-Lay truck.
That was a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
he
my
probably
gosh.
figured at that point that you had suffered enough,
Yeah.
trying to drive that truck and stuff. Oh my gosh.
And plus that time between getting back and him coming home was
Yeah,
not
and
a
you
fun time.
anticipate him coming. Yeah.
So, and Selena, I have a one-liner from my youngest son. He used to have funnyisms. We actually called them funnyisms. And hi Robin. I would type. There were so many. I would type them in a Word document, which I've saved. And your story reminded me of this one. When he was like 3-ish, he asked me one day, Mom, when blonde people get to heaven, can they see? And he meant blind people.
Blind.
When blonde people get to heaven, can they see?
No.
He would ask me,
that could be a blonde joke.
I love it. Love it.
oh, so
thank
thanks
you,
for letting
Laura.
me tell that.
Laura, that was great.
Okay, let's put Miss Robin in. So good to see you, girl. Can you hear?
She can't hear us.
Nope, we can't
We
hear
can't
you.
hear you.
I hear you.
Why don't you go out and then come back in?
Let me type it in. Oops.
Oh, she went out. Okay, let's put
Okay.
Tam back on
Okay.
while Robin is trying to correct that.
Okay. All righty. Well, let's see. My next one. John and I like to go camping when I met him. He was a camper. And we would go up to Allegheny Forest up in Pennsylvania. Really beautiful campground areas. This is primitive camping. Okay.
Okay.
But anyway, so we decided 2 weeks before we got married, we'd buy a new tent. And we got one of those dome tents. So you just take the little rods and you slide them up through, and it makes this perfect dome tent. Because we always took his dog with us, Alex. And he was a collie lab mix, about 75 pounds. And so anyways, we went and got a new tent and we set it up in the backyard. So we just left work and went, so I still have my work clothes on, my remember the espadrille sandals?
I'm gonna let Robin in just real quick. Okay, and then you can go ahead and finish your story. Okay.
Okay. So anyways, I had the espadrille sandals on, okay? And anyway, so Alex we had to keep him behind the garage during the day. He had a little house back there and stuff. So I thought, I'll go back and get Alex so he can see the tent. Not thinking, I took his leash and wrapped it around my hand so I'd get a good hold on it, okay? And not thinking about, I had those high-heeled sandals on. And when we came around the corner of that garage, he saw that tent. He bolted and took me with him because I was too dumb to let go of the leash, okay? So down I went. And what's the first thing you do when you're going to fall? You put your hands out.
Yeah.
Well, when I hit the ground, this finger
Ew.
snapped off right as a knuckle.
Oh.
So I got all my fingers like this, and this one's laying over here like this.
Oh, it hurts my heart
wow.
just thinking about it.
I'm sitting in the grass, and I'm like, oh, well, that hurt. And John goes there. He goes, oh, we're gonna have to go to the hospital. I go, no. I said, just give me a few minutes. I'll put it back.
Oh.
Put it back.
I'll put it back. Just leave me alone for a minute, So when I figured out I wasn't being able to put it back, I said, let me go lay down on the couch for a few minutes, and then you can take me to the hospital. I need to lay down. He's going, no,
You are
you have to go to the
stalling.
hospital. Okay, so we go to the hospital, the emergency room. They tried 3 times to set that finger, and every time they would put it up there, it would slide right back off again.
Ouch.
So,
Ouch.
so anyways, they finally, I said, after the 3rd time, I said, can you just tape it? Can you just tape it for now? So they taped like these 2 fingers together like that.
Mhm.
And they said, well, you're going to have to we're going to get a hold of the doctor, whose name was Dr. Nice.
Dr. Nice.
Because she says you're going to have a pin put in to
Oh,
hold it in place until it heals. So by the time I got all that said and done, this was on a Saturday, and I had to wait till Tuesday. So I get to the hospital, which I don't like going to hospitals, and they get me in the room, and they got me on a table. There's like 15 people around me, and they're all doing stuff, and they strapped me down in the bed, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here,
Oh, Lord.
And I said, where's Dr. Nice at? And she goes, well, he'll be here in a little bit, And so I'm laying there, and I'm like, again, I'm not making fun of Orientals. I'm just going to use the accent. He come up to me, he goes, which finger broke? I held my hand up. I said, which one do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, he said, must squeeze fingers together. And now I said, no, you're not squeezing my fingers. And in the meantime, while he's arguing with me on that, they bring this thing over like a big blood pressure cuff and wrapped it around my arm, and there was 3 tubes sticking out of it. And I go, and what is this for? Like they said, well, that's where we put in the anesthetic to numb your arm so that we can put the pin in. I says, are you telling me I'm going to be awake during this? By now they're getting a little nervous, just a little nervous, okay? And I said, and he's still over there going, I must squeeze fingers, and I'm like, I finally, I just lost it. I started crying. I said, somebody better do something. I said, or somebody's going to get hurt. I'm strapped down in the bed. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
And the nurse,
You're not going to hurt
Don't
anyone.
think I'm not going to get off this
came over
thing.
and she patted me on the shoulder. She said, Pam, we're going to give you something to relax you a little bit. Everything will be fine. They knocked me out. They
Yeah.
totally knocked me out. Yeah.
They gave the signal and they drugged you.
Yeah. And then when I woke up, I was in recovery and it hurt so bad, and I go, I'm laying there with my eyes closed on. It hurts. They cut my finger off. And the nurse goes, no, Pam, they didn't cut it off, honey. It's just all bandaged up. They put the pin in it and stuff, So that was one of my excursions to the hospital. I've had several, but that was one that I will never forget when he was going, I must squeeze your fingers. And I'm thinking, you do that, and I'm going to be standing up on this bed.
Don't think I'm going to flip backwards like the Exodus and get you with my legs.
This little sweet lady that we know as Pam, I know there's a different side to her.
Well, you bet.
On the other side, we see that now.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's
I love it.
My hospital stories. So
Okay, let's see if we can hear Robin. Say something, Robin.
Hello.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Well, one Saturday, I decided to take my sister and my 2 children to the park and have a picnic. But first, my sister has to pick up a pair of glasses from Sears. So I take her there and we walk back to my car, and I notice the rear plate is missing.
Oh, no.
So I thought, well, I still wanted to go to the picnic, but my sister said, you better call police. I called police. This is Saturday. He said, well, the police officer to take the report isn't here yet. I'll take your name and phone number, and when he gets back, we'll take a report on that. Okay. My next door neighbor is the rowdy person. He beats up people every weekend.
Oh, my.
His front porch. He urinates there. He drinks beer.
Oh.
Well, they never called me back, and I should have followed through on that. I don't know why I did, and I was just young and dumb. My license plate.
Just let me get Selena back on.
My phone died. Sorry.
Okay.
There we go.
And so the police come up to my door and say, we have a bank robber. And he cut through your yard. I'm like, what? They want to look in my house.
Oh.
So they look every room, I'm like, go ahead. I don't care. I had heard something, but those houses are real close together. So the police are like, I said, I think my next door neighbor stole my rear plate. And the police are like, well. I say I'm waiting on that one officer to call me back. But he never did. So, let's see, the police officers come, a bunch of them, with their sirens on.
Oh,
And I say, they say, let us know when your neighbor comes home. That's what it was. and I called them. And mind you, before this, my neighbor threatened me and said, "Don't you dare call police, or I'm going to get you." Finally, the police believed me. They were going to arrest me.
Oh, Lord.
Over that, because they thought, although he was younger than me, that he was my boyfriend, that I gave my plates to him to rob the bank. But because I called them and let them know that Bo, that was his name, Bo was there, that I was so scared. I had to stay the night at my stepsister's house. I was absolutely terrified because I'd seen him beating up guys on his front porch.
Oh, Lord.
And anyway, the police officer said, "We know you're not involved because you finally let us know. You alerted us." So I had to go downtown a few days later and get my rear plate. The police officer there downtown Dayton says, "Are you sure you didn't have anything to do with that robbery?"
My God.
I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I was absolutely terrified. Well, that, but it was scary.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, man.
That had to be a bad experience.
Me being arrested. I got a million stories. Nursing home stories, I can tell you a million. Go ahead.
Well, we want to hear more. I tell you one thing. The police were the ones that were stupid, and you can't argue with stupid.
Hey,
I'm telling you, you can't fix it either.
You can't fix stupid.
Hey, they got their man on my watch. So
you solved it for them.
Yeah, that's right. It was just a.
They should have been giving you the key to the city.
Yeah,
they should have. I mean, that police officer says, "We know Bo. He's well known with the police department."
Oh, my.
They shouldn't even have questioned you to whether you were telling the truth or not.
That just, that's the police. They can throw anything out there.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So
okay, I'm going to tell one stupid one. Okay, in the hospital, and visualize this. At that time, let's see, I was in my 40s, maybe weighed 125 pounds. And the director, now she wasn't the director, she was the charge nurse on the wing I worked.
Okay.
And she was short like me. And she was the cutest little thing, though. And once in a while, she would wear she was in late 20s, early 30s. She would wear her hair in two pigtails. So envision this now. Here's these two pigtails, like a little kid. And here's me, who we were both very strong, though. And there was a gentleman in the toilet, huge man. He probably weighed 300 pounds. Well, he, I'll use the word bluntly, he was pooping. And he exploded all over.
Oh,
no.
The funny part of this whole story is, so anyway, I knew I couldn't have got him off the toilet by myself. So I called her. So we both got in there. We both looked at each other and we cracked up laughing, really. We tried to hold it together, but so we went to pick him up and she bent down and had poop all over her picture. And then we were slipping on the floor. How I mean, to this day, when I think about that, I can envision it and still crack up laughing.
Oh,
How
yeah.
the two of us, like I said, we were both tiny but strong, and we got him cleaned up. And she held on to him while I ran out and got a walker. And we got him out of the bathroom. But here we were going down the hall, and she had this poop all over her hair.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord.
And that, I know it sounds gross, but we
Oh, but that happens in hospitals. That happens.
we could not help laughing.
Oh.
I'm going to tell one quick one, and then you guys can tell more stories. There's one that was impressive to me, and it goes to show you that we all have a time when we're going to leave this world. We had this man who was in critical condition, and we went in. We didn't get a blood pressure, a pulse, and we pronounced him dead. And before the funeral home comes and gets them, you have to clean them up. And so we turned him to clean him. And like I said, there was nothing. There was nothing. And he started breathing.
Oh, my.
Oh, wow.
Do you know that that man got well and went home?
Wow.
Oh,
Oh, my
goodness.
goodness.
And I love that story because I always say we all have a time and a place, and we're
That's
not
right.
we're not in control.
That's right. Absolutely.
But we were the nurse, all of us. There was 2 nurses and a nurse's aide, and we all looked at each other in shock.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
the funeral home. I mean, we had already called.
I
the
would have
funeral home.
probably done what that big old man would done before the first
Oh.
time. If I had been cleaning him up and all of a sudden he started breathing, I'd have
Oh.
said it and then done it. I'll tell you.
Anyway, that's my story. So let's go. Let's
Okay.
see.
May.
Yeah.
Go to Selena. Yeah.
All righty.
Well, I was trying to. I know you and Pam have to leave earlier, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was at school and I was craving a hoagie at Smoky Mountain Market. They had the best hoagies. So I thought, I'm going to go get me a hoagie and then I'll come back. So I went, I didn't think about the cameras on the school. So I went and got me a hoagie. I coming back. I ate it. I was coming up the steps to the gym. The principal stopped me and said, Selena. I went, yep. He said, why'd you leave campus? I said, I've got a good excuse. He said, okay. I said, I started my period and I had to go home and change. He said,
Oh.
you need to go to the doctor. And I said, why? He said, that's the 6th time you started this month. I said,
Oh, no.
get a new one. He said, get to class. I said, yes, sir. So I'll tell you a couple more. Okay, so I'm in home ec and I'm in there. They put me in there with the whole football team.
Mhm.
So somebody, not saying any names, decided to throw an egg. We were going to make a cake. So I had a good one and I threw it at one of the football players. And so he tried to get me. I ducked and he got the dude beside me. So here we are having a fight. So every one of us had to go to the principal's office. So every one of them got up there. I wasn't in no hurry. I got in the very back. The bell rung. They got right up to me and they said, Selena, come back tomorrow. I said, okay. Well, every one of them got in school suspension and I didn't. I never went back. And they were all over there and I went. And I think every one of them waved at me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't with all hands.
Yeah.
All fingers.
Yeah. Oh,
So I'll
fingers,
tell you, I'm going to tell you this. And I'll tell you 2 quick ones because, okay, so
yeah,
I wanted to go in and get an in-school suspension with my boyfriend. So what did I do? I had 1 foot out of the classroom and 1 in. I was tardy. Bell rang. Tardy, go to the principal's office. Okay. I went in there. He didn't get the same day. That means I had to take a lick. I said, or get in school suspension and him not in different time. Okay, I'll take the lick. He said, okay, put your hands up. And I put my hands on the chair. And he hit me and I went, ooh, I raised up on my tippy toes. Oh my God, I started burning. I got down on my butt and started squeezing across the floor. He said, Selena, what are you doing? I said, God, that stung. God, I had tight pants on. And I was just like, whoa, whoa, God, it hurt. Oh my God. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, so then, okay, I'll tell you this one. We were, the buses went on strike. So I was like, okay, Channel 10 News came. I went, all right. I got up there, called my mom, and I said, Mom, buses ain't running, they're on strike. And she's on the other end going, so you don't ride the bus? I know, I don't know how I'm going to get home. By your cousin Jamie, like you always do. I said, I guess I'll walk. And I hung up, ran to Jamie's car, got on there. I was like, I'll be on the news. I was wondering what the crap you were talking about. Okay, I'll tell. Wait, can I tell one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick. All right. So I was a tomboy, and we were at the Sonic, and a bunch of guys and stuff. Yeah, and we were all hanging out at the Sonic. Well, the train stopped. Well, these two guys said, I dare you to jump on that train. All right, you gonna jump? Oh yeah, we'll jump. All right. Started going. I jumped on the train. They jumped on the train. Got about maybe 50 yards. Well, not even that. Barely. They jump off. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to show them. I'm going to stay longer. It picked up speed. And I'm like, oh, shit, I got to jump. And I mean, that's exactly what I said. So it's picking up speed, and I'm thinking, I got to jump. And so I'm at a mile down the road. And so I jump off into a briar patch. And here I am cut off the all thing. And then I have to walk back to the Sonic. And everybody's looking for me. They don't know where I was. And I was like, got up there and I'm thinking, that was a stupid move, Selena. What in the crap were you doing? What are you doing? And then I went, yeah, I did it longer than you did it. From head to toe with the briars.
And do you wonder why this lady has so many health issues?
Oh man, let me tell you, we used to jump off bridges. And I jumped off of a bridge into the water and I hear boat. Well, you know, I'm 5'8". I turn around and I grab onto the side. I mean, I'm scraped up and they went, just joking. Then I just let go and just fell into the water. I was so mad.
No.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I've done a lot of crazy stuff.
It's a miracle she's still alive, actually.
I know. We was getting into the seniors were getting into a balloon fight in the gym. Well, I was a freshman. I didn't care. I wanted in on the fun. So I came prepared. I had overalls on. So I could carry my ammo right here in my pocket so I could do boom, 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 boom. You know, I'm just getting everybody. Somebody gets the teacher. I see one go right by me, right into the teacher, and I'm like, oh, God, I look like I'm an Oompa Loompa. I got all kinds of water balloons in my face. And I'm like, oh, crap. And then this guy come up, and he just went, boom, and I mean, it went, boom, 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 and I went, oh, crap. Yeah, I got disco suspension for that one, too.
Oh, my. Angie, are you ready to follow that one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay, this is kind of like after having a baby. I have to tell y'all this. Okay, so I had Matt. I was almost 24 years old, but I still didn't know anything about having a baby, what comes afterwards, what happens during the delivery. I mean, I was just so naive when it comes to having babies. So I had Matt in 3.5 hours, which was no big deal. I did well, but I had to have an episiotomy. Okay. So I didn't know what that was. Okay. I had no idea what that was until after the fact. Okay. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up, but I mean, it's not fun. But anyway, I get home and after I didn't know, or this is how naive I was. I didn't know that you could get an infection by being too clean. You know what I'm saying? So I would take a bath like twice a day because after the episiotomy, it's just not good down there. I'm just gonna tell y'all, it's not good.
Yep.
So then I started I told my sister, I said, girl, I gotta go to the doctor. Something's wrong down there. I gotta go see him. And she said, "Why? What is it?" I said, "I don't know. It's not healing right. It's not good." Now you have to understand, I'm just 24 years old. I'm just naive, just dumb, young and dumb. So my gynecologist, he was ugly as dirt. I'm talking about he was the ugliest man you ever want to see.
Oh my
Which
God.
I was fine with that because who wants to? You won't want anybody to look at that being fine, you know. So I was fine with him being. He wasn't easy on the eyes, let's just say, but he had a good side. He had a good side, bedside manner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they put me in the room, and he's going to come in there, and I had my story already set when he walked in. Okay, so he come in and he was like, "Miss Smith, you know what seems to be the problem today?" And I said, "Well," and I started telling him about I said about what was going on, and I still had all my clothes on because they had told me to change into the little gown, and I was like, "Oh no, he is not looking at me. He is not touching me. He is not doing anything. It don't feel right down there, and I am not in the mood for it." So he walks in and he was like, "Didn't they tell you to change into your the gown? Have you not had time to change into it?" And I said, "Well, I figured that I would just come in here and I would tell you exactly what was going on and kind of express to you what was happening, and you would just prescribe me an antibiotic or whatever I needed, because it's really confusing. I've been taking a bath at least twice a day, and it don't seem right, you know, and I think my stitches are messed up and all this stuff." And he said, "No, ma'am," and he kind of had this smirky smile on his face, and he said, "No, ma'am, you're going to have to change into the gown, and I'm going to have to examine you." And I'm sitting there going, no, you're not going to examine me, because it's not going to happen. And we're arguing back and forth about, is he going to examine me or is he not going to examine me? So finally I say, "You promise you're going to be okay? You're not going to hurt me or nothing like that?" And he's like, "No, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to be very gentle." I'm like, okay. Now I'm arguing with my gynecologist about checking me out down there. So he leaves out of the room. He comes back. I'm in my gown. He's like, "Okay, lay back and slide to the end of the table." You know how we women have to do all that. So I get down there, and all of a sudden he's about to examine me, and I'm like, "No, that's okay." And I'm like, I'm going to sit back up, you know, to say, "No, you're not checking me out." He leans over and he has a real good bedside manner. And he's like, "Miss Smith, you're going to have to be checked out, because I don't know if you know this or not, but you can be too clean and still get an infection. And we don't want your infection to get worse. So you're going to have to let me examine you." And I'm like, okay. So I slid back down to the end of the table, closed my eyes, and was like, "Oh God, if he don't hurry up, I don't know what I'm going to do." And he finally got through examining me. He's like, "Yes, ma'am, you have an infection for being too clean." And I thought, I won't take a bath for a solid week now, since I know. Because if you can have an infection by being too clean, I won't be back here. You can forget it. But that's my story about the gynecologist and the infection.
That is good. I like it. Okay, Laura.
Okay. So my next story, kind of the whole premise, what made the story happen, started back in 1993. I started a craft business, and my very good friend at the time, her and I would go thrifting together, and we would buy each other gifts. So she bought me a gift. It was a book titled How to Be Creative, or, you know, all things about being creative. And one of the things that never left me was, in life, when you're faced with a problem or an issue or something that needs to be solved, you can use creative thinking to solve the problem. So fast forward to probably 2009 or so. My youngest was 2, and we were moving from an apartment into a house. So I have 3 kids. They're kind of spread out in age. My oldest was a freshman or sophomore in high school, and he and I were deciding what we were going to, because the moving truck was coming the next day. So we were deciding what was getting on the moving truck and what was going to go out into the dumpster. Well, we did not want to take this huge hideous looking blue couch. It was really big. And I remember, chat. um,
Oh, I'll take care of that.
Lost my train of thought. Okay, so we tried like crazy to get that couch out the door. And then we had to go down 2 flights of stairs, which made a pretty narrow turn, and get it to the dumpster. Now, on moving day, at the end of the month when people would come and go, the dumpsters would fill up, and it was very common to see big furniture by the dumpster. So that's not the part of the story that could incriminate me. That part was okay. So we could not get that couch out. Now a normal person probably would have taken the legs off, or maybe they would have unscrewed the arm or something to make the couch smaller. But I decided I'm going to come up with a creative solution. We're on the 2nd floor. I kind of look over at that sliding glass door, and I said, I think we can get it through that sliding glass door. And my son says, my oldest one says, and then what? I said, just heave it over. We'll just heave it over the balcony and it'll land on the ground. He looked at me, and he looked at me like I was crazy. And my middle son was like, yeah, let's do it. And the youngest one had already gone to bed.
Those middle children are something else, I'm telling you.
I'm telling you.
I'm the grown up here. I was the grown up in the room, and I was like, no, let's do it. So we did. I talked to it. We got that thing up. The poor lady below us, I bet she was probably watching TV and saw this big blue thing. And we were laughing and everything. And then also I turned around and my little toddler came walking out, in his pajamas, and he looked at us like he was the grown up and we were the kids.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
That is good.
Yeah.
What's neat is we have all these memories, either crazy or stupid or serious, but they're still memories, which is neat.
Yeah, we all talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
We talk about that story a lot. But anyway, that's my story.
I'm going to put Pam on because I know she goes to bed with the chickens.
My pumpkin, my coat is turning back into a pumpkin.
Okay. And then we'll go to Robin after.
Okay. So I've got like 2 events here that I'm going to blend together because they're connected.
Okay.
For what the story is. So, first part, John and I had gotten pregnant, and I had a miscarriage. And so I had to go to the hospital, of course. So they get me there. In the meantime, they had contacted John and said, when you get off work, come over, because it was right when he was going to get off work. So they get me in there, and they're taking me down to the operating room to do a DNC. And I get down there, and I had another Oriental guy. And he said, well, what do you have to eat today? And I said, well, I had spaghetti for lunch. And he's going, oh, no, not spaghetti. I knew I was in trouble right there. So anyways, they did the DNC, and they're wheeling me back to my room. And I am like totally out of it. I don't know what they gave me. But I thought I was on Monty Hall, Let's Make a Deal. And I'm yelling as they're taking me down the hall. I'm going, I want door number 3. I'm like yelling all the way down the hall. So when we got to the room, I remember the look. John was sitting in the room. And I remember the look on his face when he heard me yelling about door number 3. And he looked at the orderly. He goes, what did you guys give my wife? So anyways, so that was that part. Well, then later on, I developed some female problems. So I decided to, we figured out we do a tie my tubes. So I went in. Now my doctor at that time, my gynecologist, he had hair like, oh God, what was the guy's name? Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka.
You really have some great doctors, didn't you?
Oh, I tell you, I had some wild ones. So anyways, he come in and he's, telling me what's going to happen. And so I went through the surgery. And he comes in afterwards and he kind of taps me on the shoulder. He goes, came through really good. Everything looks fine. Everything's working the way it's supposed to. He says, but I have to tell you, he said, this doesn't always work. So there's still a possibility that you could get pregnant. I'm laying there in pain, and he tells me I might get pregnant.
Yeah.
Remember, I grabbed him by his tie and jerked him down. So we were nose to nose like this. And I said, if I get pregnant after this, I'm coming after you. You should have seen the look on that doctor's face. It was priceless. I remember how big his eyes got, like, oh my God, she probably would.
Well, pregnant doctors.
I'm telling you.
He wanted to run and hide.
Yes. And it wasn't too long after that, I did end up having a hysterectomy. Things just got all screwed up. But after we did the hysterectomy, he sent me a letter saying he could no longer have me for a patient.
I wonder why.
I don't know why. I was a good patient.
He's like, we're getting rid of this one.
Yeah, he threatened him.
File 13, file 13.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, I've had. This is why I don't like getting sick and have to go to the hospital, because I always have some kind of experience. So.
You know what's so neat about, I don't know if you guys, how you feel about stories. We kind of get to know a different side of people that we see in auctions and live streams,
Yeah.
We see the more human side.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of human on me.
Okay. Let's see if Robin can tell us about it when she got arrested or something in her life.
Okay, I'm gonna leave now, Joe.
Okay, thanks
Bye,
for being
Pam.
here.
Love you.
Thank you so much. Love you guys. Okay.
You're muted again. Still can't hear you.
I wonder what happened.
Yeah, because she was good last time. Oh, okay. Well, go for it, Laura, until she comes back.
Okay. I can tell a quick one. Which one? Oh, here's a quick one. This is a quick one.
Okay.
So I have this really ginormous tool that I use to cut spoons. It's actually a chain link fence cutter, but it's huge. So I was traveling to a show somewhere, Chicago or Minneapolis or something. So I was away from home, and it was a 4-day show. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to do some work at night when I'm in the hotel room. So I bring my big spoon cutter with me. And I walk into the hotel. I already checked in. I'm almost done. I already checked in.
No, go ahead. I just wanted to let her in.
And I'm carrying my luggage in, and I have this ginormous chain fence, cutter that probably could be used to cut padlocks or do some kind of malicious things. And the guy at the counter, he was young, like 19 or 20, and he looked at me, and he looked at that thing, and he looked back at me, and he said, what you gonna do with that? And they said, well, if I told you, I'd have to. And I just kept on going.
Oh my.
Anyway, there's that one.
That's neat. Okay, let's see if we can you talk?
Hello?
Okay, we can hear you. Good job.
Well, I am a prankster. I love pulling pranks at work. And when I was working, I worked night shift. I came up with a excellent prank. I would have the nurse's aide put a little bit of orange juice with water. I would be drinking in a little cup with some ice, some water at the nurse's station while I'm charting. At the end of the shift, around 5 o'clock in the morning, and the nurse's aide, I would say, oops, I forgot to get this urine sample on this patient.
Oh no.
And the nurses, this would be for new employees that was
Mhm.
working with us. I'd say, can you go get this for me out of their catheter bag? They were allowed to do that, I think. I don't know. So anyway, she would have her plant of the orange juice with a little water. It looked like really cloudy, nasty urine.
Oh,
I would take my glasses off and I'd be like, oh, I'm getting a headache. And I would pretend, and she said, oops, I forgot the cap, and run back. And I would grab the urine cup and drink it.
oh my gosh.
I got 2 employees. One girl, she said she almost vomited. I said, no, it's not. We're playing a trick on you. And the other one was a new nurse, and he was like, well, I don't know. I was thinking, what am I going to do?
That is a prank. That is a bad prank.
Yes.
I love it.
That's
Now we
good.
know Robin is very mischievous, or she was.
Yes. Oh yes. If I can get a prank through, I would. And one time my boss was there. She came in on night shift, and I played a pranker. I can't remember. And I was like, well, we're keeping the employees happy, and she didn't care. Oh, one year on my birthday, the employees got a male stripper
Oh no.
in the nursing home.
Oh my.
He was a cowboy.
Uh-oh.
And some of the old ladies are sitting around there watching, and he's doing his shtick, and my face turned, I don't know how many shades of red. I was so embarrassed. I just wanted to crawl up and die.
Oh God.
Oh, it was so fun. No, I had lots of fun at work.
It sounds like you did.
I did.
Sounds like you did. Now, did you always work in nursing homes, or did you ever
Yeah.
work in you always worked in
Yes,
nursing
I was an LPN, and most hospitals didn't want LPNs, and if they did, they paid not as much as nursing homes. The nursing home work is extremely hard.
Yeah, it's. I
Extremely
went from
hard.
a hospital to a nursing home when we moved to another state because I didn't want to work night shift, and it's a culture shock, I'll tell you.
It is. I remember at my first job, before the nurse's aide had to be certified by the state,
Hmm.
this one family member, she said, oh, I can do this work. I think she lasted 1 or 2 days before she quit.
Yeah,
You know, those nurses' aides, some of them, any job, some people are not good.
yeah.
But the majority of them, they have an extremely hard job.
Have a hard job. Yep.
Extremely.
Yep.
And they need to be appreciated.
Yeah, I had on one when I did go to the nursing home, I was in charge of 45 patients, and I had 4 nurses aides under me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard work. It's hospital nurses complain, but you know what? We worked hard in the hospital, but worked a lot harder in a nursing home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell you for proof. Anyway, well, Angie, do you have another story?
Yeah, I got a quick story to tell. So
Okay.
the first 10 years of mine and James's marriage, he worked away. He cleaned up hazardous waste, and he would go to different states and clean up the waste, and then he would come home. Well, he was only coming home about 1 week out of every month. So I was raising 2 children by myself. And my grandmother lived here too, which was a blessing because she helped a lot. But she had some weird ideas about the way they used to do things when she was younger. But Matt would go to bed at 8 o'clock, and I sent him back there. And had he went to bed and not disobeyed me, this would not have happened. But he had one of those little plastic desks where you slide into and do your homework. Well, he decided he's going to stand up on where you write your homework. He's going to stand up there and reach for something on the wall. So when he stands up on it, the desk falls in and he lands like this on his hand. Well, he just breaks this arm like this, just like a pencil. So I hear him back in his room. I broke it. And I said, I'm going to kill him if he don't get in the bed. I told him. So I walked to the bedroom, and sure enough, it was just like this. And of course, this is what y'all don't know about me. I don't do well with 911s. I do not do well with any kind of emergency situation. James not here. My grandmother's here. I mean, I'm just like, I told my grandmother, I said, he really did. He broke it. He broke it. And my grandmother goes, well, hurry up and give him some Tylenol so the pain won't set in. So here we are. I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. He's coming up the hall with his hand just like this, just broke like a pencil. So we get up there. I'm pumping him full of Tylenol, which now I look back and think that ain't helped him at all. And so my grandmother says, hold it up so, it won't be hanging down. Well, back then you had the telephone on the wall, and you call people. You didn't have cell phones. Mm-hmm. So I called my oldest sister and I said, you got to get out here. Matt has broke his arm. And you have to understand, Matt was her everything. I mean, she thought Matt was her child. She didn't have any children at that time. So next thing you know, she's in the driveway. She walks in, his arm, and we just rushed to the hospital. We get to the first hospital and they're like, we're not going to be able to do anything about it tonight. We'll wrap it up and you can come back such and such day. I'm like, no, you're going to do something. His arm is broke half in two. They said, okay, well, you can go on to Macomb. I'm like, okay, I'm good. So we go to the next hospital. We get there. They come out. They said, yeah, we're going to try to set it. And, would they take him on back? We wait and wait and wait. Finally, they bring him out. He's all cast up. They got his arm all in a cast and everything. I'm finally over the stress of it. And the doctor and the nurse are laughing. We go into the car trying to get him in the car. They're just laughing. I said, what is it? They said, you're not going to ever believe what happened. I'm thinking, oh, Lord, what did he do back there while they were trying to set his arm? And she said, we had him sedated. And she said, you know how when you set a brake, you have to pull it, and move it around. It's not a fun thing to watch. And she said, we were just trying to set it and pull it and all that. And he kept saying, quit, stop, don't do that. That hurts, real calm. And she said, all of a sudden, he just stopped, looked straight at the doctor and said, read my lips, stop. And she said, we all just busted out laughing at him because he had enough of them trying to set his broke arm. She said, he looked right at us and said, read my lips. I said, stop. And she said, we finally got it bandaged up. And she said, that's what we're laughing because he just was real calm. And all of a sudden he just got all mad and just got right up in our face. But yeah, Matt has done some crazy stuff as a child. He ate rat poison one time. We had to take him to the hospital. He had all up in his teeth. You could see it. I didn't know how much he had ingested. I didn't see how much he had ingested. So we take him to the emergency room. He wasn't even 2 yet. And we thought we had got it all out of the trailer. We lived in a mobile home then. But he had found it, of course, behind a dresser that I didn't check and see if he was there. So he thought it was candy. So he had eaten it. And rat poison is a blood thinner. It thins the blood. So we head to the hospital and the lady comes out and she said, if he's ingested a bunch of it, there's nothing we can do. I mean, it's a blood thinner and it's nothing we're going to be able to do. So I'm just devastated, like, oh my gosh, my child is eating rat poison. And again, James was at work. So my sister was with me. They come back and said he hadn't ingested a lot of it, but you're going to have to come back every day for a week, and we're going to draw his blood and give him a shot of vitamin K for 5 days because vitamin K thickens your blood.
Mhm.
So the next day, James comes home, of course, and we're taking him to the hospital every day. He's not even 2. They're having to draw blood. I mean, he's just losing it every day, just screaming every time we have to go. So the nurse comes in there and she puts the little tourniquet on his arm and she's trying to draw blood from him and everything. And she's, she can't get it. She can't get it. Nothing's happening. He's screaming, can't get it. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, James just stands up, reaches over to where Matt is, pops that tourniquet off his arm, jerks that needle out and says, now you get somebody in here that knows what they're doing. And I said, oh my gosh. Okay. Now. So she walks out. I said, James, she's just trying to do her job. I don't care. Did you see that needle in him? He's not even 2 years old yet. He's not. No. So finally, a lady that knew us at the hospital come in and she said, James, I'm going to get Matt's blood and I'm going to be as gentle as I can. And I don't want you doing to me what you did to the lady that just went out. Do you understand? And he said, yes, ma'am, I got you. But he popped that tourniquet off that arm and said, now you get somebody in here that knows what they're doing. Like, okay.
I don't think I'd want to tangle with your hubby.
Not when it comes to one of us. No.
Oh. That's good. Okay, let's get Laura on. And how about if we make this the last round?
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Did we skip you, Josie?
You could. No, I told my 2.
Okay. All right. So back to the apartment days. It was a tiny little town, and to go anywhere, we'd have to drive on country roads. They were windy, or sometimes I would have to drive when it was dark, and there would be deer and wild turkeys, and I was determined to never hit a deer. I was very determined.
Oh,
so
I've done that. Go ahead.
Every once in a while, like every 30 seconds, I would honk my horn just because they'd be waiting on the side of the road. They'd see your headlights and, they would run in front of your car. So to scare them, about every 30 seconds, I would hit my horn.
Josie.
I got it.
Okay, thank you.
And so my kids they would originally ask, well, why are you honking your horn? I would tell them, and everyone in the family teased me about it relentlessly. But you know what? I never hit a deer. So one day, we're in the city now. We're in a big city. It's daylight, and we're at the drive-through. I think it was a McDonald's drive-through, and we're waiting our turn. And there's just like relentless honking and honking and honking. It's just relentless. And I look at my kids and I say, wonder what all that honking is for. And my youngest says, probably a deer.
Mhm.
I thought that was funny.
That is funny. Okay, let's do Robin and then we'll say good night to everyone. And Robin is eating something good, I bet. I don't blame you.
Let me think. I've got so many good stories.
How about the one?
No, I know. My girlfriend that I worked with, she was an RN, Karen Natter. She lived in my neighborhood, and we drove together to work and drove home a lot of times. Night shift, and we got off work. She had to get gasoline. So she pulls in to the pump. She gets out to fill it up, but it's on the opposite side. And I'm looking at her. Okay, so she said, gets back in the car. She says, I can fix this. So she goes around to the other side of the pump and she gets out, and I'm looking at her, and it's still on the opposite side of the car. She said, no, I've got this. I've got this. And I'm looking at her like, you're crazy. She pulls around to original spot where she started to get gas. I said, I laughed. I just sat there and watched because it was hilarious. You had to be there. And she finally figured out that she had to, back up and go. That I'm like, man, you must be tired.
That is hilarious.
That is.
Oh, and then another story. We worked together, second shift. I had a new trach patient. I didn't know much about trachs. They brought this woman in. They didn't give us any training.
Oh, wow.
I had some training. I knew how to take it the inside out. I'm not.
Now, how did she lose sound?
Sound is gone.
It's not, it's on her end. It's not.
Can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Her system must be fouled up.
The lady pulled her trach out. I got that much.
Yeah. Can't hear you, Robin.
She's just a going.
I know. Yeah, it's got to be her laptop.
It's got to be a shortage somewhere in something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
And as these computers I just actually bought a new computer because I needed the larger screen.
Well, I'm about to purchase me a new computer in the next week because of this one, the camera not being so good.
Yeah. If you notice, my pictures are clearer now.
Yeah, but I've got to because this camera is not working.
Yeah. But, they don't last that many years. And sometimes people will, think, oh, they'll last 10 years. No, after 2 or 3 years.
Well, if I'm going to continue doing my YouTube channel, which I have all intentions of doing, I've got to get another computer.
Yeah. Yeah. But where I'm having trouble with my right eye, I got a nice big screen and I love it. This laptop, I got an HP and the last one is a Dell, and Dell and HP, I think, are the best.
Yes.
Robin, you're muted.
Can't hear you, love.
I'm going to bring it.
There she is.
Okay. She might accidentally say something.
Bump it or something.
Yeah, she's gone. I'm going to bring us all up. Yeah, sometimes especially as your computer gets older, you can just accidentally bump it and it'll change. But you don't get the updates, especially now. They're not updating Windows 10. So if you don't have Windows 11, and see, I was stubborn. I didn't want to put Windows 10 on my last computer because, we see this character here. He keeps changing his
the last numbers.
Yeah, that's how he's coming back. He or she. I have a feeling I know who it is.
I know who it. I feel like I know who it is too.
Yeah.
Really? You guys know who that is?
Oh yeah.
Well, we think.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it, Josie. Thank you for having me on telling stories. I love listening.
Thank you for
it was
being
a great
here.
idea. Laura, I
well,
loved your stories. They were
Thank
hilarious.
you.
I think it puts a human side to us, you know,
I'm
because
gonna start thinking of more stories if we ever have this again.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be ready for this.
I think, like I said, you see a different side of when we're just presenting things in an auction,
Mhm.
and this is the real us, you know.
Yeah, real life things happen.
Yeah, we've all been through a lot of crazy things, a lot of good things, a lot of silly things. And Laura, I'm so happy when you notified me that you would like to
Oh,
do this. That's
I have been looking forward to this since I first heard you talk about it during one of your sales. And then I saw that come out on the community post. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get a
love it.
wild hair.
That was
And
a
I'm going to.
wonderful. It was a wonderful surprise to see you, Laura. I'm glad you come on and told your story.
Thank you. Thanks for making me feel that
Thank
way.
you, everyone in the audience, for being with us.
Glad
We
y'all were here.
Thank you, and let us know if you really enjoyed it. And I can take.
If you want us to have another one, and if y'all want to join in and tell a story, whatever,
let us know. So anyway, thank you for being with us. God bless you, and see
love
you
you all.